members of Congress are notorious for demanding they be briefed into the most sensitive intelligence programs. They support them in private and then head for the hills at the first sign of controversy. As far as the interrogations are concerned, all that remains an official secret is the information that we gained as a result. Some of his defenders say the unseen memos are inconclusive, which only raises the question why they won't let the American people decide that for themselves. I saw that information as Vice President, and I reviewed some of it again recently at the National Archives. I formally asked that it be declassified so the American people can see the intelligence we obtained, the things we learned, and the consequences for our national security. And as you may have heard last week, that request was formally rejected. It's worth recalling that ultimate power of declassification belongs to the President himself. President Obama has used his declassification authority to reveal what happens in the interrogation of terrorists. Now, let him use that same power to show Americans what did not happen, thanks to the good work of our intelligence officials. I believe this information will confirm the value of interrogation of detainees, and I am not alone. President Obama's own Director of National Intelligence, Admiral Blair, put it this way: high-value information came from interrogations in which those methods were used and provided a deeper understanding of the al-Qaeda organization that was attacking this country. End quote. Admiral Blair put that conclusion in writing, only to see it mysteriously deleted in a later version released by the administration, the missing 26 words that tell an inconvenient truth. But they couldn't change the words of George Tenet, the CIA director under Presidents Clinton and Bush, who bluntly said, "I know that this program has saved lives. I know we've disrupted plots. I know this program alone is worth more than the FBI, the Central Intelligence Agency, and the National Security Agency put together have been able to tell us." End quote. If Americans do get the chance to learn what our country was spared, it'll do more than clarify the urgency and the rightness of enhanced interrogations in the years after 9/11. It may help us to stay focused on dangers that have not gone away. Instead of idly debating which political opponents to prosecute and punish, our attention will return to where it belongs, on the continuing threat of terrorist violence and on stopping the men who are planning it. For all the partisan anger that still lingers, our administration will stand up well in history, not despite our actions after 9/11, but because of them. And when I think about all that has to come during our administration and afterward, the recriminations, the second-guessing, the charges of hubris, my mind always goes back to that moment. To put things in perspective, suppose that on the evening of 9/11, President Bush or I had promised that for as long as we held office, which was to be another 2,689 days, there would never be another terrorist attack inside this country. Talk about hubris. It would have seemed a rash and irresponsible thing to say. People would have doubted that we even understood the enormity of what had just happened. Everyone had a very bad feeling about all of this and felt certain that the Twin Towers, the Pentagon, and Shanksville were only the beginning of the violence. Of course, we made no such promise. Instead, we promised an all-out effort to protect this country. We said we would marshal all elements of our nation's power to fight this war and to win it. We said we would never forget what had happened on 9/11, even if the day came when many others would forget. We spoke of a war that would include dramatic strikes, visible on TV, and covert operations, secret even in success. We followed through on all of this, and we stayed true to our word. To the very end of our administration, we kept al-Qaeda terrorists busy with other problems. We focused on getting their secrets instead of sharing ours with them, and on our watch, they never hit this country again. After the most lethal and devastating terrorist attack ever, 7.5 years without a repeat is not a record to be rebuked and scorned, much less criminalized. It is a record to be continued until the danger has passed. Along the way, there were some hard calls. No decision of national security was ever made lightly, and certainly never made in haste. As in all warfare, there have been costs, none higher than the sacrifices of those killed and wounded in our country's service. And even the most decisive victories can never take away the sorrow of losing so many of our own, all those innocent victims of 9/11, and the heroic souls who died trying to save them. For all that we've lost in this conflict, the United States has never lost its moral bearings. And when the moral reckoning turns to the men known as high-value terrorists, I can assure you they were neither innocent nor victims. As for those who asked them questions and got answers, they did the right thing. They made our country safer, and a lot of Americans are alive today because of them. Like so many others who serve America, they are not the kind to insist on a thank you. But I will always be grateful to each one of them and proud to have served with them for a time in the same cause. They and so many others have given honorable service to our country through all the difficulties and all the dangers. I will always admire them and wish them well, and I am confident that this nation will never take their work, their dedication, or their achievements for granted. Thank you.